The following review is intended for entertainment purposes and targeted for adult fans of the series.
Unfortunately, the Sporix takes some inspiration from the idea of combining. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Power Rangers Dino Fury episode review. Let's take a look at the 18th episode of Dino Fury, Crossed Wires.
Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel.
Yeah, and make sure you got your notifications set up by hitting that little bell icon. Right you.
What he said was, you can consider checking us out on Patreon or Ko-fi at Orange Ranger Videos.
Very cute scene in front of the school to kick things off as Fern catches up with Izzy. Izzy directly calls Fern her girlfriend and gives her a kiss on the cheek. Very, very adorable. Fern is trying to talk to Izzy because she found out from one of Izzy's teachers that she failed an electronics test and is going to have to retake it. It is a privacy violation to tell Fern that, but anyway. Fern offers to help Izzy study, but Izzy says she's got this. Fern leaves and the other Rangers show up, somehow already knowing that Izzy needs to retake the test. Ollie says that he aced electronics class, having taken it remotely while on an expedition with his mom. I'm not sure how one takes an electronics class remotely. I figure you'd have to prove that you can wire stuff. Anyway, he offers to help, and Izzy once again says that she's got it under control. Solon calls, telling the Rangers that something weird is going on in Haverly Park. Thank you so much for the specifics, Solon.
The museum! Something's happening to it!
The Rangers get to the park and find a bunch of people on the ground, sound asleep. Warden Garcia shows up, for once it being completely warranted for him to be there, seeing as it's the park. He tries to wake the people up, but then the Rangers hear a whirring sound, and he suddenly gets struck with a beam, deciding right then and there to take a little nap. Solon calls once again. Now there's a Sporix beast at the chemical plant. Zato decides to split the team up. He, Amelia, and Ollie will go to the plant and check that out, while Izzy, Javi, and Ion will stay in the park and see what's going on with the sleeping people. Izzy hears the sound again and spots a small machine nearby, warning Ion and Javi just in time as the machine zaps at them. She calls over to the others to describe the machine to them, especially since the three of them don't see a Sporix beast at the chemical plant, so this is probably a trap. Indeed, Ollie finds one of the machines, opens it up, and immediately figures out how all of it works.
Nerd!
He calls Izzy back and immediately starts blathering off how to stop this thing. Tubes and capacitors and circuits and etc, etc. She very clearly doesn't understand, and Ollie was just offering to help her study for an electronics test that she failed. Of course she doesn't get what you're saying, just tell her what to do. But they get interrupted by the Sporix beast, Stone Snare. The three morph and start fighting some henchmen. Back over with Izzy, she's still completely clueless about what to do about this, but pretends to understand to Ion and Javi, just telling them to go stand over there so they can't see that she's clueless. She remembers Ollie mentioning something about a blue ball inside the machine, but not what she was supposed to do about it. So she decides to yank the ball out of the machine. That was the wrong move. The machine overloads, zapping Ion and Javi and knocking them out. Funny enough, the machine is still destroyed, so everyone else wakes up, just not the two Rangers. Izzy panics and teleports the three of them away. The people wake up and get up, completely confused, and go on with their lives. Mucus teleports in and does an almost funny bit about attending Void Knight's sleep trap show, taking the machine, which Izzy didn't think to bring with her, and leaving. Back with the morphed Rangers, this was a weird fight and left me wondering if they were setting something up. We even get Zato diving at the monster with a stroboscopic type effect. The three Rangers do what I think is an original finisher, Dino Fury Strike, and Stone Snare just stands there and takes it, exploding and turning back into a Sporix, which Amelia claims. Solon then calls, saying there's a situation at the base. She's not feeling very specific today, is she?
I don't know if we solved the problem.
Here's where things get a little complicated. There's parts of this that I love, and there's parts of it that I hate. Everyone's back at the base and fully updated on Ion and Javi. Ollie starts digging into Izzy about how she could screw up something so simple. They all knew that she had to retake an electronics test. Fern knew that, and then they knew that. Why exactly did Ollie think she was having to retake it? Izzy tells them that she said she's good at electronics. Apparently something that she said off screen. But she really doesn't get it. The information from the textbook just won't register in her brain. Ollie is pissed off about this, directly blaming her for the team being down 2 Rangers. The thing is, her guilt is so clear, and I actually really love this emotional conflict between Rangers, even if Ollie's anger doesn't really make any sense. Solon calls him over to work on the machine that he brought back. If they can reverse the polarity of the beam, they might be able to wake the Rangers.
Naturally created an amplification of the inherent energy output.
See that?
Ollie says that process will take some time, and Solon suggests that Izzy might be able to help. Ollie is incredulous at the idea. She's been studying electronics for a year, and clearly she's just stupid and dumb, and her brain smells like moldy cheese. Okay, maybe a slight exaggeration there. Solon says that it's possible that Izzy maybe just isn't a book learner and needs to learn through practical hands-on experience. When Ollie asks Solon if she's sure, Solon says, "How else will Izzy learn?"
Who knows? Not me. Who cares? Ditto mark.
And you just lost me, Solon. The point of all this is not teaching Izzy about electronics. The point of this is waking up 2 of the Rangers so the team can go save the world. If there were some kind of ticking clock mechanic to this, like we have to wake the Rangers up in 2 hours or they're never going to wake up, I could sort of understand bringing Izzy in on this, but not really because it's still slower to have to teach her every step of the way. But alright, this is what we've got. So what's a method that we can use to teach Izzy about electronics quickly? I'm sensing another episode without Jane and Jayborg because the villains seem to be giving us the comic relief this time. Void Knight works on the machine that Izzy broke while Mucus babbles at him until he tells her to shut up. Meanwhile, 2 identical copies, twin brothers, triplet brothers I guess, of the Sporix beast are watching videos of Stone Snare's defeat. And their names are Stone Mad and Stone Sad.
That was not funny.
Last time I said that the villains reminded me of MMPR in a cheesy good way. Now it's in just kind of a lazily written bad way. Void Knight reveals the linchpin of this entire plan, the Mega Sleep Bomb. When this thing goes off, it'll put the entire town to sleep at once, so he can gather all the Sporix while Strong Mad and Strong Sad over there go deal with the Rangers.
No. Parakeet.
Did you just say parakeet?
Izzy and Ollie finish working on the machine, and after a cute little bit with Zato and Amelia, where they say they tried to wake the 2 up with alarm clocks and pancakes, the machine works and the 2 wake up. Just as Izzy's about to explain what happened, an alarm goes off. Kind of funny if you think about it. They've detected the 2 stone monsters and the Rangers head out. They find the 2 monsters setting the bomb, and we've got a 5-minute on-screen timer. Now, from what I can tell, because you know I pay attention to these things, the timer does seem to be accurate to real time in the episode, so kudos there. Though, at one point when I was watching, the last digit on the timer ticked down from 2 straight to 0. Oops. Ollie starts to work on the bomb, but oops. They set the other machine, the one that Izzy didn't think to grab, as a trap to zap Ollie. He sleepily tells Izzy that it's up to her now as he falls asleep. The two beasts crow about their trap working, and then both of them grow. Izzy bravely says that she'll take care of the bomb. The other 4 Rangers morph, the full sequence, so now we get Ion's morph a little bigger right about over here, and they summon the T-Rex, Dimetro, and Mosazords. All of a sudden, Dino Fury seems to be respecting the idea of not being able to summon Zords for Rangers who are not present, which I love. Limit yourself to what you have on hand and make the Zords unique to each Ranger. They form the T-Rex Blazing Megazord and the Mosa Razor Zord battle mode. However, unfortunately, the two Sporix beasts take inspiration from the idea of combining, and they themselves combine into one larger version of the monster, whose name is Stone Rad. Stone Rad. Oh, but it gets worse, and those of you who've been around a while, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Dino Fury just hit one of my major irritations. I'm sure there were those of you who thought it was a little bit nitpicky last time for me to say that the Electrozord should have been called the Electro Megazord or the Electro Fire Megazord. The Rangers take inspiration from the Sporix beasts that took inspiration from them, as Ion decides that they should combine their 3 Zords. Zato turns to Amelia and Javi and says, "Hey, wanna try an Ultra Zord?"
No, 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 no.
The T-Rex Blazing Megazord and Mosa Razor Zord combine into what is admittedly an incredible looking combination. It's got a blue and orange chest plate and a really pointy, cool face plate. What do they call this new combination? The Fusion Ultra Zord. I feel like at some point here, somebody responsible for writing a Power Rangers show Bible decided that the term Ultra Zord refers to any combination of Megazords. I mean, if you combine one Megazord with another Megazord, the result must be something greater than a Megazord, right? An Ultra Zord. For example, take Power Rangers RPM. When the High Octane Megazord and the Valve Max Megazord combine, the result is the Zenith Ultra Zord.
That ain't true! That's not true! So get your facts straight.
Oh, right. It's actually called the Zenith Megazord because a Megazord combined with a Megazord is still a Megazord. The term Ultra Zord is used when all of the Zords are combined, unless you're Operation Overdrive, and Operation Overdrive was dumb. For example, the RPM Ultra Zord consisting of all 12 of their Zords. The worst, most annoying part about all this is that since Dino Fury is using this past battle, current battle thing that spoils some of the story details for the sake of the plot, we already know there's a Dino Fury Ultra Zord. We've seen it in flashbacks, and Zato called it the Ultra Zord. This is not that. If you want to get creative with Megazord naming, pull a samurai and call this thing the Fusion Gigazord.
Okay, dude, calm down. Take it.
Say one more word. Give me a reason. I'm begging you, come on. And another thing, what is with confusing combination names involving the word fusion? You remember Ninja Steel and the Fusion Zord? What is exactly wrong with the term Fusion Megazord. The Fusion Megazord gets to work, and what I really like about this is how it's still shorter than the Sporix Beast, which effectively demonstrates just how much stronger it is. It pushes that thing around and then finishes it off with a Fusion Ultra Strike. And this is an attack where the dinosaur heads, T-Rex and Mosa on the fist, do a chompy laser thing. I really only mention it because they actually superimpose the real dinosaur heads over the Zord heads, and the Mosasaurus looks a little bit derpy. Derp! The Rangers teleport down to Izzy, who of course stops the bomb just in time. Ion makes a joke about Ollie's sleeping blue tea. Nobody laughs because it really wasn't all that funny, and then he feels the need to explain it, which makes it even less funny. Then Zato pulls a Data about not understanding human humor either.
A monk, a clone, and a Ferengi decided to go bowling together.
Commander Data, report to the main bridge immediately.
Can confirm at this point that Jane and Jayborg are not in this episode, but that doesn't mean that we don't get a comedy stinger. Unfortunately. The Rangers meet Izzy in front of the school. You know, I keep forgetting that Izzy's the only one of them that's actually in school, and ask her how the test went. She says they're not supposed to know the results until tomorrow, but this teacher that apparently thinks Izzy and Fern are sisters gave Fern Izzy's test to show her right away that she got an A. That strains believability a little bit in the story, I think. It's a little too much for how much Izzy struggled. I'd have gone with a B. The lesson, which I'm thankfully not going to rant about this time, has been learned as Izzy admits her struggles with book learning and thanks Ollie for giving her a practical lesson. The Rangers hear the whirring sound again. Oh no! But this time it's just Pop Pop blowing leaves out of one of the school's gutters. But then the leaf blower goes faulty, destabilizes the ladder as all the Rangers stand around and watch, and then Pop Pop falls probably 30 or so feet onto a pile of leaves. He says he's just fine and dandy, and I'm sure besides the broken bones, the muscle damage, the likely spinal injury, very likely asphyxiation from getting the air knocked out of his lungs, I'm sure he's just fine. Long story short, too late, the leaf blower is messed up electronically, and of course, in the span of one day, Izzy has gone from electronics failure to Wonder Child, instantly knowing what the problem is and how to fix it. If not for Fern going, "That's my girl," there would be nothing redeeming about the scene whatsoever, so let's balance the scales. Episode 18, Crossed Wires. Pros, Izzy's struggle feels very real, the Fusion Megazord looks awesome, and real conflict in the Ranger team. Cons, the entire script feels very contrived, the conflict resolves a little too quickly, and the naming issue with the Fusion whatever. 3 pros countered perfectly by 3 cons. So Crossed Wires gets 3 scales out of 5. I am glad to not have a problematic moral to rant about for once. In this case, the moral of the day is very clear even though it's never really stated outright. Don't be too afraid or proud to ask for help. But this ends up feeling like an average episode because the entire plot is contrived around it. I like that Void Knight keeps coming up with ideas, but I really would rather that he had a greater singular plan. Not to gather the Sporix to power his machine, but a way of accomplishing that. Episode 18 out of 22 should not be filler. But besides the Fusion Megazord, that's what it was. The last of the teens for Dino Fury's first season. Surely we'll get some sense of the ongoing plot by now, right? Let's take a peek at the 19th episode of Dino Fury, The Makeover. After learning Pop Pop is going on a date, an overexcited Amelia gives him a makeover.
Roll credits.
Meanwhile, Void Knight learns of a treasure at the museum that might power his machine. The finale of this season is going to be a single episode story without any prior setup to it. Why am I fooling myself into thinking any different? Anyway, that's going to do it for another Power Rangers Dino Fury episode review. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. Now that the video's done, you can let me know what you thought of this episode, as well as my review of it, down in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you hit that thumbs up button to let me know that you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to lend any support to the channel in a way that is not Patreon or Ko-fi, consider checking out my Teespring store and getting some sweet Orange Ranger merch. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. The second really great outro I've done in a row. Let's take a look at the 18th She found out from one of Izzy's teachers that Izzy had very, very cute scene in front of the school to set to Solon comes to tell him to work on the machine that and the naming